We are almost there. And we are live.
Okay, awesome, cool. Welcome, folks. Glad y'all are here. Amazing, cool. Okay, we got a good majority. Okay, so basically, let's get ahead and start. I call this meeting to order at 7:03 p.m. Going ahead right into it. Are there any amendments to the agenda for today? Eva.
Can we please strike the bag allocations, please? And second, can we add a discussion item discussing the hooligan theater letter that USAC received?
Awesome. Yeah, I know. Gabby mentioned that too. So perfect. Let's go ahead with Janice next.
Hi, could we strike the SWC programming fund?
Awesome, thank you. And then Lucy.
Can we please strike capital contingency and contingency?
Awesome. And then, sorry, moving around on my screen. Evan.
Can we please strike TGIF?
Okay, and then let's also promote Alicia, and I think Alicia had something that she wanted, they want to add to the agenda.
Hi guys, good night. Let me raise my hand.
Yeah, you're good.
Thank you.
ahead.
I'll strike ARC allocations, please. And could I add a discussion on COVID-19 policies and guidelines for this upcoming fall quarter?
All right. Last call for any amendments to the agenda. Okay, awesome. Looks good. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
Okay, Sarah motions, Jonathan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, please lower your hands. All abstaining, please. Sorry, all against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. Okay, with a vote of 12 to 0, that is approved. Okay, awesome. Looks good. And then let's see. So the approval minutes. So from our last meeting, I hope everyone had a chance to review those. Was there anything that needs to be changed there? Looks good. Okay, cool. Can I have a motion? Please. Dang, it's gonna be a long night, y'all.
I move to approve the minutes from last week.
Awesome. Sarah motions. Can I
I
have a
second.
Alicia seconds? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. All right, with a vote of 12 to 0, our minutes from last time are approved. Okay, awesome. So now we can go ahead and open up public comment at 7:06 p.m. Public comment is a time for current undergraduate students at UCLA to raise any questions, comments, concerns for USAC Council. So if you do have any public comments, please go ahead and raise your hands. I know we have a few attendees, most are for appointments, but if there are any other ones. I see a raised hand. That's not telling me it. Oh, I think it's Cheyenne. Okay. Cool. And we got a few other council members coming in, so I don't think they're for public comment. Okay. Going once, going twice. And we are done. Okay, so public comment is going to close at 7:07 p.m. All right. And then moving on to our next couple of things. So we have SFS allocations. Are there any?
Chia Yang is still in the attendees
Oh, sorry. I did not notice that. Can we go ahead and promote? Okay, so now, okay. And then Jean, were there any SFS allocations for us to be made aware of? Okay, no. Okay, so going to ASRF allocations, Sujana Wadani.
Yeah, so sorry, I wasn't here at the beginning of the meeting, but I would definitely like to, there are no allocations. And so like, I would like to strike ASRF and TGMF, or like, I don't know if I can strike, but yeah, there's none.
Yeah, okay, so we'll just say there's no allocations because I don't want to have to reapprove the agenda right now. Okay, so then going to AAC travel mini grant, since I was going to be stricken originally, there's no allocations for it. Okay, we don't have any special presentations, so we're going to dive right into appointments. So basically kind of breakdown of appointments. As we know, our candidates are going to give their 1 minute opening statement. Then we're going to go into a brief question and answer period where USAC members get to ask questions to our appointments. And then after that, they'll give a closing statement. Then we will hear arts recommendations and a brief statement, which we love. And then after that, we'll go into brief deliberation between council members to talk about any kind of final remarks, any concerns that we have, and then we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. So we're going to go ahead and start out. So John, is that another hand? I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with our first candidate. So we have Academic Senate Committee of Academic Freedom. We have Anusha.
Hey, everyone. Should I just go ahead and do my opening statement right now?
Yep, you're all good.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you're doing well and having beautiful summers. My name is Anisha Intezari. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a rising fourth year in a dance and sociology double major, and I'm applying to be a student rep for the Academic Freedom Committee. And I believe I'd be a good fit for this position because academic freedom is a fundamental influencing factor of students' experiences when taking classes at UCLA. And as students, we face the impacts of decisions being made by faculty and those in positions of power. And as someone who cares deeply about representation and equity, being a student voice to ensure that the decisions that are being made around issues that pertain to what and how class content is taught, making sure that it's equitable, considers marginalized students, and ensures that content and history that society has historically tried to erase is taught. And these are just a couple of the many reasons why I'm applying for this position. And as someone who has actually been in Academic Senate for the past 2 years in the General Education Governance Committee, I have been aware of the pressing issues in academic freedom and Academic Senate in general, which has also been a huge factor in my decision to apply for this specific committee. Furthermore, as a first-generation low-income Mexican and Iranian woman, I understand the importance of student voices being present in these spaces. As my whole education as a first-generation student, I've also just been fighting against inequity that I've constantly faced and the constant barriers that come with, being a marginalized student in education. And due to these hardships and just the many passions that I hold within myself, I am very, very excited to be applying for this position and can't wait to have this conversation with all of you today. So thank you so much for your time.
Amazing. Okay, awesome. So we'll go ahead with questions. Sarah, go ahead and kick us off.
Perfect. First of all, thank you so much, Anusha, for taking time out of your day to come to our council meeting. We appreciate it. My question is, I expect for particularly this committee appointment that sometimes you're gonna have to challenge faculty members. As like for even though you don't get a vote, you definitely get to have your voice out there and be heard. So can you share a time when you have challenged a person of authority and how you managed to get your voice across, even though I guess for lack of a better word, it sometimes can be scary.
Yeah, totally. So there's so many examples, but one example that was more of a recent one was particularly I'm a dance major as well. So in the dance department, we were having, a lot of us students of color and also students that do not do, Eurocentric dance forms have been experiencing a lot of, inequities and troubles within the dance department that's, highly like, it's there's so much European like dance styles that are kind of like on the dominant forefront of a lot of the curriculum, education, and like, a lot of the professors come from that background, majority of them. So, just being a student in that department, it can be troubling at times when there's not as many, professors that come from the same dance background as you, or, have that wealth of knowledge. And I think that it's something that I struggled a lot with, and something that when I discussed with, other students that also are, street dancers or just non-European dance styles, we all talked about how that was just a pressing issue that we faced. So something that we did was actually, present to the entire faculty about like ways in which we have felt like we do not, that there's issues in our department that like they can fix. And, it's called World Arts, Cultures, and Dance, if anyone didn't know. And I think with that name, there's so much, responsibility with that, and then to just kind of uphold that responsibility. So we presented kind of like, it was like definitely like a big thing because we're, it's a whole bunch of faculty and we're the students. So it was something that I was really proud of for sure, and something that I'm still, bringing into conversation today and making sure that like those demands are still being met. But that's just one example of me just coming together with students. I think it's important to mention too, it wasn't just like on my end, it's like a coming together as a collective of students to bring forth, like an action and a change that needs to be brought. So that was just one example. Happy to mention more if needed, but I think that, yeah, I think hopefully I answered that question. Sorry.
So can I ask a question real quick, Susanna? Before you go? Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. So being one of our amazing appointments from last year, what do you think you bring back into this position, or what's something that you hope to really change when you go about like this appointment today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you so much. So I think that, well, first of all, I think the first thing that I think is helpful is that I understand like how academic senate works. So I feel like that would help my transition into academic freedom. Although it's a different committee, I think like having the background of academic senate is someone that like would really be helpful for me to just go into that role and feel, that extra little bit of support, and also being able to help anyone else in the academic senate in general, not just my committee. And there's that. And then in regards to what I can bring new, there's something that I've mentioned a couple times in my previous interviews, is that I really want to bring forth and emphasize like ideas around outreach, because as student representatives, it's like my experience is my experience, and there's so obviously it's just like something that I bring with me everywhere I go. But as a student leader, like it's also my job to be going out and outreaching to all students, as many as I can, and just really ensure that those voices that are like, are being brought into committee meetings and stuff. So I think that's something that I really want to bring forth this year, something I am going to bring forth this year if given the position, is really an outreach initiative where, senators can have office hours, like kind of like have like at least like one meeting or two meetings where like that's part of the training of senators is like outreach, and like how we can do that. Because I think something that I kind of like, that was the one thing that was always lingering on my mind the past 2 years, is like, oh, like how can I outreach? How can I really ensure that I'm like outreaching to as many people as I can? That's something that I kind of stuck with and was always like never feeling 100% on that. And I think that that's something that I want to ensure that's like at a really much better level in the past 2 years of my time, and just really ensuring like, okay, like how can senators feel supported in their journey towards outreach, whether it's like an Instagram page for us, or like making it known that we like our presence is also like existing. So I think a lot of students don't even know about academic senate. So I think that just making sure that all of those things are available to students, and then at the same time ensuring that academic senators are free to speak to students and like open up that opportunity and that window. I think all of those things are something that I really, really want to bring next year if given the position, or this upcoming year, my bad. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, awesome. And the last question will be Sujana.
Yeah, absolutely. So my question is just some of the most pressing and timely issues on CAF last year were first the use of AI in the classroom on the part of students, not only to do assignments, but also to take notes. And then there were also concerns, definitely not on my part, over the use of EDI trainings in the classroom, and kind of like the promotion of EDI initiatives overall, potentially posing and like undue, burden like on professors, and being ineffective. But I just wanted to ask what your opinion is on these two issues, as I imagine will dominate the committee conversation next year. And that's like not meant to be a trick question, loaded question, or heavy question at all. You could answer briefly, but just want to get an idea of what you think.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for your question. Yeah, it's really important that I also am aware of those things as well. So thank you for bringing that up. And I think that for me, like I'm someone that's always going to advocate for the equitable the equitable route and what's the reasonable equity that's needed. So I think that in terms of the AI, like I guess I'll keep it kind of brief on that because I'm not exactly sure the entirety of it, but definitely on whatever I advocate for, I will ensure that that's on like student interests, like marginalized student interests, and et cetera, things of that nature, of course. So I think that that's kind of my approach on that. And of course, discussing with because I'll be a co, so discussing with my co. And then in regards to diversity, equity, inclusion training, that's the second thing you mentioned as well, right? I just wanted to clarify. Okay, that's a for sure. Professors need to be doing that. So that's something that I'll definitely be advocating for. If I understood the issue correctly that you were mentioning, that's definitely something that I'll be advocating for and bringing a lot. I know that there's that committee does like there's a lot of like things that you have to deal with, unfortunately, like a lot of like challenges with some problematic professors. So I'm definitely ready for that challenge, like, because that's a really essential and important aspect that professors and faculty members need to have, for obvious reasons. So I'll keep it brief and just like keep it at that. And I hope that kind of helps answer. I could go on and on.
Awesome, thank you. So now we'll go into your 1 minute closing statement. Sorry, everyone. Okay, I'm ready now. I just want to thank you all once again for your time. I truly enjoyed speaking with all of you, and I really look forward to what's to come. So thank you so much for your time. And through the committees and academic senate, decisions are being made that impact us, and it's vital that there are student representatives that are genuinely passionate about this work, understand the responsibility that comes with it, and make it their utmost priority to amplify student voices. I vow to be that leader if given this position. Thank you all so much. Awesome. Thank you so much. So now we will go into like a brief kind of, oh, sorry, Ark, let me hear from you. What's the recommendation?
Ark voted Anusha with a 2-0-1 vote, and our statement reads, Anusha gave a very impressive interview and application to Ark. Her prior experience on the Academic Senate, along with her innovative ideas for the Committee of Academic Freedom, makes her a very qualified candidate, and Ark would like to recommend her to the Academic Senate with a 2-1-0 vote. And I believe that one abstain is from ARC member that worked with her in the past.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so now we will go into council having any like deliberation time. I want to just kick us off and say that Anusha, I think, is very qualified for the role. And given that it was one of our previous appointments on the Academic Senate, definitely bring in that knowledge. And hopefully, like with some of the initiatives, especially for outreach, I think is very vital. It's part of like my goal in my office so that we can stay up to date with our appointments and also making sure that they're seen more just across the campus and known by the student body. I literally just had a conversation like this past weekend about like what Academic Senate was and how students could be a part of that. So it's definitely like not well known. So definitely we can increase that, which I think is an amazing initiative to have. But yeah, Sarah, and then we'll close out with Sujana.
Yeah, I'll make this really quick. I was the person that abstained. But that's just because I've had the opportunity to work with Anusha in the past, and I just want to give a second to advocate for her. She is super passionate. I think she's like fully capable for the position, and also brings, I think, her own like authenticness, would bring her own authenticness to the role, which I think is very valued, especially when working with faculty. So a lot of support from FSC.
And close us off.
Yeah, I mean, what can I add? But it bears adding to, I worked with Anusha last year as the chief of Senate, and she's just so compassionate, so creative, so intelligent. Being on CAF, I think it's one of the most important committees. It's just going to become more important in the coming years. So there's truly no one more capable than Anusha to take it on. And yeah, I hope everyone votes yes.
Amazing. Feel the love. For real. Okay, so we got it. So let's go ahead and have a motion.
I move to vote on Anusha for the Committee on Academic Freedom position.
I second.
All right, Sujana, motion. Sarah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. All right, with a vote of 13-0, Anusha, you are now at the Academic Senate Committee of Academic Freedom appointment. Yay!
Thank you all so much. I appreciate your kind words.
No problem. All right. So then looking in the chat, I don't see a Benjamin here. So we'll go to Academic Senate. Ooh,
I thought that this happened before I left. That actually needs to be stricken. Anyways, we'll get into that later, but that doesn't need to be circled back to.
Okay, so since the person's not here, I'm going to go ahead and go to Academic Senate Legislative Assembly. I don't want to butcher your name, so please introduce yourself and then I will go from there.
Right. Thank you. Hi, my name's Chidima Okafor. That's how you say it. But yeah, I don't know if I finished the rest of my introduction.
Oh yeah, go ahead with your first your 1 minute introduction statement.
All right. So hello, my name's Chidima Okafor. My pronouns are she, they. I'm a upcoming second year, and I'm also an African American Studies major with a Global Studies minor. And then also, I think I would be a good fit for this position because I believe in like equality and especially like academics, and being able to like review that and actually vote on that and actually be kind of in that would be everything to me. I've always looked out and up to people who have been like in legislations and all that, and it's something that I really want to do with my like life and my career in the future. So like starting at UCLA is like something that would be, you know, of highest prestige and everything like that. And I'm just happy and excited that I can get to do that. Especially with the fact that I was involved with student government in high school. So carrying that on to college is definitely very important to me. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and open up to question and answer time. Does anybody have a question to kick us off? Okay, Sujana.
Yes, hi Chidima, it's so nice to meet you. My question is just that as an academic senate student representative, you won't have any voting power, and as it goes, any like real quote unquote real power to like change policy or enact, enact policy or influence decisions. And as such, I just want to ask how you will leverage your role as a student representative despite that lack of voting power.
I mean, in terms of like representing the school, even with that would be very important. Like I'm also like a Black queer student, and so having like a role in that would be very important. In terms of the way like in the environment in which UCLA is very diverse. So I feel like having a part of that would be like very important.
Thank you. Okay, Sarah.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, she froze. Okay, in the meantime, does anybody have an additional question? Ooh, okay, I'll ask a question. So just given based off your experience, you also talked about in high school you were part of student government, but just experience so far in like UCLA, do you have any like what skill or what do you think brings you to like that you can bring to the table to bring to this appointment? Sorry if that sounded convoluted. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I feel like my communication skills are like my greatest kind of skill, and I feel like having that is important in legislative assembly, and being part of the Senate, communication and voicing things is kind of the most important part. So I think that that's definitely like what I took from student government from high school into, this position that I'm looking forward to.
Thank you. Okay. Awesome. Any other questions before we go ahead and, okay. Looks like none. So go ahead with your closing statement.
All right. So basically, thank you very much for having me. I have always dreamed of like being part of legislation and regulations and things like that. So even if it's not the biggest role, anything small is the best, and taking that upon yourself, regardless of how big it is important. And it's still part of the Senate. So I believe that, every small role is important. Also being able to, represent, as a Black student would be amazing. Also, as a queer student would be amazing, you know? Like, yeah, so I just really think that I'd be a good fit, and y'all seem really chill. So yeah, be happy to join. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and hear Art's recommendation.
ARC voted Chidinma a 3-0 vote, and I believe Sarah will be saying statement.
I don't know. Did she join back in?
Let me check. If not, I can also read it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think she gone. Okay.
Okay, with a 3-0 vote, we support Chidinma's appointment to the Legislative Assembly. She presented strong proposals and initiatives and also had a lot of passion for supporting students. We also really valued how she talked a lot about communication within this position. So with that, we'd like to recommend her to the Academic Senate.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. And then we'll go into kind of final deliberations between council members. Any comments, concerns before we go ahead and put it to a vote? Okay, Sujana?
Yeah, I think I would just like to say, like, as the appointing officer, that I really appreciate Chidinma's approach to representation. The idea of, every action, no matter how small, really counting, being able to all work together as a group. I think I would love to see someone like her as part of the Senate. So hopefully you all feel the same and vote yes.
Awesome. Okay. And I would just also like to add that I think it's great that you applied for this role, honestly. Definitely have my support. I appreciate how you also tied in like personal experience, identity, positionality into both your kind of opening and closing. I do really value that in these conversations because I feel like we bring our identity when we come to the table. So it's also like very valuable in that regard as well. But yeah, definitely thank you for coming up to council. I really appreciate it. So with that, we'll go ahead and can I have someone motion to vote?
I move to vote on Chidinma for the Academic Senate position on Legislative Assembly.
Second.
All right, Sujana motions, the seconds, all in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. All right, with vote of 12-0, you are now one of our appointments for the Academic Senate Legislative Assembly. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, awesome. So now we'll be moving on to another appointment. We have Academic Senate Faculty Executive Committee, Chelsea. And whenever you're ready, please give your 1-minute opening statement.
Hi, everyone. Okay, I'll start with my 1-minute statement now. Okay. My name is Chelsea Liu. I go by she, her pronouns. I'm an incoming second-year neuroscience major with hopes of doubling in poli-sci. Today, I'm applying to be part of the Faculty Executive Committee as a Senate appointment. I'm uniquely qualified for this position because I'm a person that loves both the social and life sciences. So as you all are aware, the College of Letters and Sciences is such a broad department that holds majors all the way from humanities to physical sciences to biological sciences. So I come in with the understanding that as the world grows more complex, we need to build more critically minded individuals that can look at a situation from multiple perspectives. And to do so, UCLA not only needs to be an institution that encourages interdisciplinary study, but makes it feasible and accessible through the structure of academic programs all the way down to the major and minor requirements. So it's my strong belief in this perspective that makes me the ideal candidate to serve alongside different faculty of different academic departments within the College of Letters and Sciences.
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, so now we'll go into question period for council members. Who can kick us off with some questions? All right, Sujana.
Hi, Chelsea. So I'd love to ask you the same question I asked Chidinma, which is, and I ask every time, which is how you plan to leverage your position as an academic senator, despite the fact that there is, voting power, and also given the fact that you're a student, just one of two on a committee with so many faculty and admin.
Yeah, so I think the fact that as a student appointment in the faculty executive committee specifically, I don't have voting power. I think that makes my position all the more important is because I'll be a representative of student voices holistically, what they're going through, initiating those conversations about what challenges they're going through in pursuing a major within the College of Letters and Sciences and bringing that to the table at committee, and making sure that by giving a well thought out student perspective, that all the faculty from their respective academic departments can make an informed decision on the proposal and action that they're reviewing. So first, by making sure that I'm doing my job properly by going out there and understanding what students are going through, what student needs there are this year specifically within the College of Letters and Sciences, and then giving that holistic report to faculty so that they can make an informed decision, because ultimately it's their decision that affects what students are going to be undergoing within their pursuit of a major within the College of Letters and Sciences.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions from folks? All right, cool. With that, I'll let you go ahead and do your 1 minute closing statement.
Okay, sounds good. So in closing, when I think about what's most important about being an academic senate appointment, especially for the faculty executive committee, it's being responsive to student needs. To this point, I'd like to highlight an experience that I'll be pursuing next year that I think will really uplift and inform my performance as a senate appointment in the committee next year, which is being an RA. So as a resident assistant on the Hill next year, primarily for first year students, I'll really get the chance to be immersed in many settings with diverse students and people from all different backgrounds. And so that'll give me the chance to open the door for a lot of conversations about what students are going through, what students find most challenging about pursuing a major within the College of Letters and Sciences. And so being a part of that conversation, putting in that effort to understand students, I'll get the chance to reflect and gain insight about what actions and proposals I can bring to committee and potentially mitigate any of the struggle that they're going through, whether that's changing a major or minor requirement or name changes to academic programs. I think that little things can go a really long way in terms of safeguarding student welfare. And so leveraging my position as an RA next year is just one example, but it shows that to the committee, I will bring a value of advocacy. I will bring a persistent effort in understanding what students are going through and ultimately being responsive to student needs.
Thank you so much. Okay, so now let's hear Art's recommendations.
ARC voted Chelsea with a 3-0 vote, and I believe Sarah will be reading this statement.
So I actually will be the one reading the statement.
Never mind.
So Chelsea, with knowledge in both North and South Campus and a vision with regards to changes that have to be done here at UCLA, is qualified to serve on the Academic Senate as part of the Faculty Executive Committee. With her future position as an RA and plans to increase transparency and insight within the FEC, ARC, with a vote of 3-0, believes that she is adequately prepared to serve in this position. We value the vision and ideas she has for the position, as well as to advocate for student needs and desires to their education at UCLA.
Amazing. Okay, so now let's do kind of final deliberations. Is anyone want to leave any comments, concerns before we vote? All right, Sujana, kick us off.
Yeah, definitely. First, and Chelsea, not to air you out or anything, so please forgive me, but Chelsea applied for this position last year when I was chief of Senate. And unfortunately, we weren't able to extend a senator position to her. But just like in hindsight, and of course, being able to see her interview again and coming, it's not necessary that I regret that decision, but it's just like she's an incredible academic senator, or she will be. And I'm just so glad that she reapplied. If I could kick myself, I would. She's a super, super smart, reliable, well-spoken, obviously, as we all saw. So hopefully you all vote yes.
Awesome, cool. And I will just say, I really love how you tied in like how you're going to be an RA as well. Those interactions you're going to have, those are going to be really valuable. So far, like just being around for like summer programs, getting to meet some of these incoming freshmen, that it's going to be amazing. So I hope you have a wonderful time in that, and definitely just getting to like hear everything that you've been able to do. I really love Sujan's point that she just touched on. But I think you'll be amazing in this role. So yeah, I hope votes vote yes. So with that, I'll go ahead and ask, can we have a motion?
Yeah, I motion to approve Chelsea as the faculty executive committee member or representative.
Senator.
Senator.
Okay, Evan motions, Jonathan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, please lower your hands. All against, please raise your hands. All abstaining, please raise your hands. Okay, with that, we have a 13-0 votes. And Chelsea, congratulations. You're now our faculty executive committee senator. Yeah, ate that up.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. All right, have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Cool. All right. Oh my God, our last appointment's a consent item, period. Evan, I love it. Okay. So do we hear anything from ARC about this one? I'm sorry, I forgot how consent ones work. Yeah, Lameo.
You're good. You're good. You can, Evan, if you want to like say something, if ARC has anything particular they want to say, they can go for it, but nothing full.
We did
Yeah.
a statement.
Oh, you did have a statement? I think that's cool if you want to say.
Okay. Okay. We voted 3-0. He had a very detailed, comprehensive, and intelligent application for this position. He is one of the early advocates for the Bruins for Better Transit and the transit referendum, and that shows a lot about his passion and knowledge about the situation in general. He knows so much about transportation services on campus. He's involved with transportation services on campus, and we would like to happily recommend Aviv for this appointment.
Amazing. Okay, so that's just a consent item. So is there any opposition? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no. So do I still open that up for a vote, or is it good? We're good?
Unless if there is any opposition, then you would go to a full vote. Otherwise, you're fine.
Slay. Okay. So sorry to butcher this name. Aviv is our new Transportation Services Advisory Board appointment. So yay, congratulations. Okay, cool. Oh my God, we're flying through. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead into officer reports. Yeah, it's been booked and busy, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. So my chief of staff, Isaac, who's also in our meeting today, met with some of the True Bruin Welcome stakeholders. So this is where I was able to bring up the open house idea and collaborate with some amazing folks just for some events that are gonna be taking place in our Welcome Week. So it'll be really fun, really fresh, and we'll talk about the open house a little bit more in the meeting later. I had a lunch meeting with Poria and Sandy to kind of discuss goals for this year and just like kind of just getting our ground foot and setting kind of a good stage after the whole ASCCLA BOD appointments that I'm not going to talk about. So I also had a meeting with FAC, SWC, and DSU to talk about the Daily Bruin article that I shared a couple meetings ago. So that was cool. Definitely have some action items that we'll be following up with. I had a meeting with the carrot person from Burnwalk. That was cool. Got to talk about some future collaborations. So I'm excited. I hope y'all are excited. So you might see me with the carrot man. Also had a meeting to discuss some details for like the student government open house and playing that with just some folks that are involved with Mary Romo. If you've interacted with her, she's amazing. I met Andy at the LGBTQ Resource Center to talk about collaborations, especially in the first upcoming weeks of fall quarter. I sat in the Gender Recognition Act Implementation Committee, got to hear about some of the things that they're working on and getting prepared for. I participated in several of the LGBTQ CRC assistant director interviews. So definitely love giving feedback and also seeing other students, undergraduate and graduates there in that space, and just being able to give like feedback for these people that they're recommending for these roles. Also went to the ASUCLA picnic. It was really cool. I was like getting to meet a lot of the ASUCLA workers as well and getting to vibe. There was an incoming freshman there, so I also got to talk to. So that was fun. And then I also, me and Sarah and Isaac, my chief of staff, we're at the South Bay Leadership Academy that we were invited to by our amazing Lori. Lori was there too, my bad. But yeah, it was really amazing getting to hear from folks in power on this campus and just making more connections with leaders across the board. But yeah, it was awesome. Okay, cool. So that was it for me. So Megan, I don't know if you want to share anything aloud or yeah.
I'll share a couple things. So we're currently hiring still. Applications are due like tonight or tomorrow night, sometime soon, please. Share that around, repost it, please. The Appointments Review Committee conducted 13 interviews since the last USAC meeting. We'll be scheduling around like 10-ish for the next 2 weeks. So last week I collaborated with Eva to write a resolution supporting Assembly Constitutional Amendment ACA 6 to support our local labor unions and UC students in gaining basic labor rights. So that will be coming up later on tonight as our last item. Last week, I also met with my Empowering Student Engagement Committee, and they proposed several committee initiatives that they want to be doing for this year. And you can read more about that in our attached document. I met with the Bruin Bazaar director from FAC to pass on my role. And that was really nice, just because I miss FAC so much. And tomorrow, Jonathan and I will be meeting with Karina Salazar, the interim executive director for the Career Center. If any council members have anything they would like us to bring up related to the Career Center or any collaborations, please let us know.
Awesome. Okay, even for the shooing. That kick us off.
I was like timing it this entire time, thinking that I would have like some more time to chew, but we're good. So my main priority this week was really just setting up one-on-ones with a lot of my staffers. So I had about like 15 one-on-ones really just to discuss like their projects, because it's kind of hard to like oversee everything over summer, and we're meeting a little bit less. So I got to check in with a lot of them, hear a lot of good work that they're doing. Through one of those check-ins, I discussed with my amazing staffer, Shay, huge shout out to her, about the LA Tenants Union work we want to do. We began brainstorming some content that we want to put out on like platforms that students think are best to communicate their like rights as tenants, whether that be like website info or like a social media guide. We'll be like releasing a survey to kind of see what like where people would want to see information about that. And we'll be putting content there. So be on the lookout for that survey and be on the lookout for our content and any like questions we have about that. We've also, as an office, really been planning for this Regents meeting. I've been mentioning it like every single USAC meeting so far, but I'm going to mention it again. Just getting our ducks in the row there, prepping for like public comment training sessions. We're hoping to do public comments based on the UCSA goals that I presented last week. So super excited for that. Also finalizing my office budget. We also planned some engagement with the Gailey Towers redevelopment project with Sarah Dundish. So that's coming up, super exciting. We also had yesterday a phone banking session led by Lauren, my amazing director for federal relations. We got students from like UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, UC Merced, as well as obviously a big turnout from UCLA, calling their representatives to save federal work study. And that's referencing the resolution I had 2 council meetings ago. I don't really remember. And in that same vein, Megan and I worked on the ACA 6 resolution tonight. Huge shout out to Megan for that one. Next, the organizing directors in my office have been meeting with the organizing directors and like other EVP offices as part of our UCSA obligations. So really just checking in, seeing how we can collaborate in the future. I also met with SAGE, this sustainable like cool club. I don't even know how to describe it. We talked a lot about the Sepulveda transit corridor and preparing a potential like mock EIR, kind of seeing like what some like impacts of it could be with a heavy rail stop at UCLA with direct connectivity to the Metro D line extension. So really, that's pretty cool, and love that I'm getting to work with them. I'm super honored. I also want to give a big shout out to two of my staffers, David and Ronan. You've seen Ronan like working the AV for our USAC meetings before. David and Ronan have been preparing the guidelines for our grassroots organizers for working students grant. So that's like a grant that we'll be giving out to student workers looking to organize. So be on the lookout for that. The app will drop sometime in fall quarter. It'll be quarterly. So super excited, and really big shout out to them for doing that. And last update, I discussed our EVP Office Fellowship curriculum today, as well as some staffers. And there we kind of have been planning like what that internship looks like. This is targeted for students who are new to USAC or new to EVP or UCLA in general. So that application will be coming out this month, and we're really excited to promote it at EAF, pending information on EAF. And I think that's all for me. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, so really moving on. Gen Rep 1, Katie.
Hi everyone. I hope you all have had a good week, couple of weeks. So I met with my office for the first time, and it was really fun. And it's definitely going to be an exciting year. And one of the girls, or one of the members of my office, she's abroad right now, and she kind of brought to my attention that while she was abroad, she's met a lot of UCLA students that are kind of voicing the same concerns about abroad UCLA students and kind of the restrictions that UCLA has put on like certain classes they can take without like letting them know ahead of time. And so we're starting to look into that, about just like addressing, making sure that our abroad students feel like that they're a part of the community and that they're not being kind of like left to the side. So we're starting that in my office, trying to figure out what exactly different abroad students need, and figuring out how to voice that to UCLA. Other than that, yeah, it's just been me with my office and working on, I also talked to a couple of commuter students about their interests in different activities to do like during the school day, not necessarily at night, but activities that UCLA students do at night, like intramurals and different like club meetings, and how we can make that a little bit more commuter student friendly. And that's what I've been up to. Thanks, guys.
Amazing. Yeah, I also saw that the commuters was like, they're looking for like student representatives kind of thing. I also thought that's an amazing idea as well, to kind of collaborate with that. So yeah, awesome. Okay, so Gabby, was there anything you want to say aloud?
No, everything's in the written report, but thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay, cool. Jonathan, anything you want to say aloud?
Yeah, a couple things.
Sure.
I'm eating melon right now, but so I had my first office meeting last week. I was very excited for the variety of individuals I have. Funny enough, I have no juniors. I have seniors and I have sophomores. I have a lot of sophomores, but no juniors. I guess it just coincidentally didn't align. The stars didn't align with that. So I presented about USAC. I had a presentation that I've made previously, but also another presentation that was so generously sponsored by EVP. So thank you, Eva, for EVP for sponsoring our second presentation on USAC bureaucracy. I need to continue figuring out Slack. I don't know if you all have also tried to make a Slack with your respective offices. It's a little difficult. I'm not gonna lie. Some of my staffers are still having issues logging in, so I have to address that. Just putting that in the air in case anyone else also has an issue like that. So my directors are officially working now. I'm very excited. I have them out there doing stuff. I already gave them their assignments. They're very, hardworking, and they're very excited to get, go on their feet running, already meeting with stakeholders. I need to reach out to a couple more people, but besides that, they seem very energetic, and I'm very excited. Me and Gabby met twice already to talk about our internship program. I'm really excited for that. Basically, our internship program works on, it's aimed towards incoming transfers and incoming freshmen. basically to just show them a bit more about USAC, what it means to be involved. And then they're going to develop micro projects to basically implement within our offices. It's a cool concept I came up with when I was at Office of the President. So I'm really excited to be able to concrete that within my office. And, we looped in our chief of staffs. So I'm very excited for that. Our office was impacted by the hurricane. Yay. So we got to figure out what we have to fix for our office. So that's great. Conducting ARC interviews as always. Again, my bi-weekly shout out to Megan and Sarah. Love them lots and always appreciate our little discussions and our little moments to check in with each other, as well as of course do appointments. I had a meeting with Daniela Cortez about the HSI initiative. Connecting with her, seeing what we can do together, but that was interrupted because a family emergency happened right in the middle of the meeting. So I have to meet with Daniela later on, but I'm excited to continue collaboration with her. And as Megan mentioned earlier, we're meeting with the Career Center. So again, please let me know if you all, myself or Megan, know if you guys have anything else to add. But that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, amazing work, y'all. Okay, Sujana?
Hi, I will probably have briefer updates today because I was traveling for the past week, so I wasn't doing too much USAC stuff then. But I was able to meet with Roy, Jonathan, and Kaylee, my assistant commissioner, to discuss applying to grants and kind of working on like grant making and private funding for the commission. Hopefully that's something also like as I learn about it, I can share the wealth with all of you guys, which I definitely plan on doing. I was also able to meet with, oh, it's escaping me. I apologize. I was also able to work further on the proposal for incomplete notations. I'm still drafting that with Emma Landry, GSA VP of Academic Affairs. My directors, like we had a scheduled like director meeting for this past Sunday. I was traveling, so I ended up recording that for all of my directors, but they're still working independently. We're gonna have director introductions up on our Instagram soon, and they're continuing to work on their individual projects. I'm finalizing my office budget on how much will be allocated to each committee. And what I did was like kind of a la USAC surplus. I had the directors like make proposals, like advocate for funding, and it was nice seeing what they have planned and all the effort that they put into that. And besides that, I've just like still been working on everything, things as they come. Sorry, I'm a little like discombobulated because my flight literally landed at 6, so I just didn't really, yeah, but I'm still planning the midterm stress relief week, and that's kind of number one for me, just because like now we're kind of getting close to the quarter. I want to have everything booked and everything done before the year starts, so I don't have to worry about that too much. I'm catching both. Wait, no, wait, wait. But okay, that is all for me, and assorted other things, of course.
Not catching both. Okay, cool. So we got Campus Events Commission. Mason, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I have my document on here, but I'll just say like some really quick things. We, for Broom Bash, we have sent out our offer letter for the opening act, and we already heard back on that, so that's like confirmed, so very exciting stuff there. We're about to send out our headliner offer letter, hopefully soon. We just like made the decision on that today. But yeah, so exciting stuff happening there. We also have been talking about like sponsorships and more like funding options for Broom Bash with the Vice Chancellor to just find more options for like next year, and how just because prices keep going up and the budget do not be going up. So we need to find ways to like keep hot artists coming back to Broom Bash. So we're trying to work on that. So something for the future. Also working on RecFest and EAF. Obviously, something different for RecFest this year is it's going to be in Wilson Plaza, and it's going to be 2 days. So Monday, the same day as Broom Bash, like it usually is, and then also overlapping with EAF on the Tuesday after that. So yeah, more information coming out about that soon, and the EAF sign up will be coming out soon. I know a lot of people keep asking about that, and we are working on it, girl. Like we are really working on it. But yeah. And then we have a couple concerts and filming things like in the works. We have our Earth Sessions concert that we're collaborating with the Common Experience on in October. And then a couple like miscellaneous screenings and speaker events that we're still like planning. But yeah, just a couple quick updates, but not quick when I was working on them. These things took a long ass time, but yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Okay, awesome. Moving on, Alicia.
Okay, yes. Echoing all that Mason said, registrations will be up soon. Also just a PSA, if you want to talk about EAF, Breakfast, Broom Bash, anything, that is both me and Mason. It's both CAC and CEC. Don't forget that. If you want to reach out to both of us. It's a collaborative event. And Breakfast details will be, stop, Evan. Stop. What's it called? There'll be a call to artists out soon. So when that is up, we'll announce it on council, but please share. And we have our walkthrough with Lori scheduled. Our wristbands are ordered. Everything's coming together, which is kind of exciting. I'm not like scared of it because I did it last year, but it was very exciting. Mick DeLuca, shout out to him. He has been helping us fiscally a little bit to try to discount some facility costs. The next thing is, I added a discussion item about it, but we are going to draft a resolution with the Disabled Student Union, and I'll talk about it soon on the COVID crisis going on currently with the new variant and the high caseload everywhere. The next thing is, I'm also trying to reach out to Andy at the LGBTQ Center because our door used to have like all the pride flags on it, and we really want them back now that, because it was taken down. We're just trying to put our door back together, have some new creative things included. With that, I'm also reaching out to previous alum. One of them was a director of World Fest. Her name is Melissa. I don't know if she's any of your advisors. She's at Seoul. She was the World Fest director, and her husband, Melissa, and her husband, he was a CAC in 1992. He passed away, and she's going to give the art office some of his CAC things, which is really, really, really wholesome. I'm meeting with her tomorrow. Next thing, and yeah, to create archives, to create something for future CAC people to look at. I'm also beginning to work on my political platform on the repatriation of stolen items by the Fowler and the Southern Regional Library and on the Hill. I'm going to begin a new job at the Hammer Museum, so I'm going to get a connection to the Fowler through them. Yeah, fuck museums though. I'm trying to be a Spanish speaking guide for people. So I'm trying to do something good, but I do hate museums. I just want to put it out there. Okay. Next thing is, and that'll be exciting for the open house that we're gonna have. Next thing is, we're gonna open one application for a chief of staff on Friday because we're supposed to have 2 chiefs of staff. One of them quit, unfortunately, so we're rehiring. So when that is, if you know anyone who has chief of staff potential, please let them know. It is stipended, and CAC is so good. CAC is so fun. The next thing is our ARC guidelines and our timeline, like their cycles, are drafted. They're ready. We're just meeting with Fernando and Jessica and Jonathan soon to get those confirmed so they can be uploaded to the website, and we can begin hiring people to sit on, our hearings and get these applications going very soon. And all of our fall events are finalized. We have a schedule full of our Word on Wednesdays, our art galleries, collaborations with ASA, soon ASU, and more. I just don't have them like pulled up. I wrote it down, but all of our fall events are basically scheduled. We're just gonna make all the graphics before the school year starts and market the heck out of CAC. Yeah, that's all my updates, I think. Thank you guys.
No, thank you. Awesome. Okay, so now, sorry, I lost my document. Okay, Evan.
Yeah, I'll go super quick because I'm really tired. So I'm only gonna give 2 updates, but the whole list is there if anybody cares. I think one of the biggest ones, and probably my nerdiest and favorite thing that we've done in the past 2 weeks, is we've worked really closely with CD5, which is our councilwoman, and we're creating currently like a map that's gonna have a ton of different layers on it. It's a map of Westwood, and it's gonna go like it basically goes like intersection by intersection, block by block, describing what the shortcomings are with each of the blocks and like what like the pedestrian signals are. Like it's really intense, and there's like 6 different layers on it. So we're really excited for that one. And it's all going to be about improvements with CD5. And it seems like there's going to be some very concrete things that we're going to be able to get pushed in even by the end of the year. So it seems like there'll be some big changes coming to Westwood, just improving the physical infrastructure, the accessibility of Westwood, and then also pedestrian and cycling infrastructure. The other one too is I've worked very closely with my new TGIF vice chair, and we've reviewed the TGIF website and the TGIF applications. We have a whole list of changes that we want to make for it, just to make the funding body clearer, especially the website a lot clearer, and then also just make it more accessible. So we're funding all sustainability projects, not just projects that are focused exclusively on environmentalism. So those are kind of my 2 most exciting updates. But like I said, the whole list is there if anybody is interested.
And then Evan, I just gotta say, I saw you on like the What's Brewing at UCLA page, like on their like one of their news clips. You're in the picture, so I'll send it to you. But yeah, okay, awesome, and amazing work as always. And now let's go to Financial Sports Commissioner Sarah.
Hi everyone. I hope everyone's having a good summer. I'll give the main highlights. In FSC, we're gonna post a graphic within the next few days just to announce the New York Times service subscription. So if you guys can repost that when that comes, that would be greatly appreciated. I've also been in Ackerman a lot just to talk with all the favorite people like Roy and Jonathan, just about advertising, and then also with Roy today about SGA and making sure students get their checks on time. I forwarded him the hooligans email, and then also financial transparency for USAC in general. And we've been having our weekly meetings with my like executive board. And yeah, those are the highlights, but I'll probably also include a written report. But thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now let's go to, oh my God, I'm lost. Janice, Student Wellness Commissioner.
Yes, hello. Okay, hi everyone. So I have written updates linked on the agenda, but as for me, you know, per usual, meeting with lots of different people. And the exciting thing, hopefully Megan has given me share screen access, but there's a really exciting resource that Dr. Nicole Green from CAPS and like general like campus health initiative has shared with me, where, can you all see that? So this new website just launched, and it is like this comprehensive quiz to where, so for example, to help like students find resources. And I didn't even know this was a thing. Like SWC was trying to do this like via an app. And then I met with Dr. Nicole Green, and she was like, we actually just did it this summer. So yeah, and USAC is actually on this website, for example, if you say that you're in need of social resources. But yeah, as you can see, it will ask you questions about how your physical health is, different categories that you might need support in. And so please circulate this. I think they hit all of the incoming students by incorporating it into freshman orientation, but I think it's going to be up to us to distribute this to returning students. I'm not sure if they were able to, I'm sure they got it to transfer admit orientation as well. But yes, for the rest of us, let's circulate this. It's an awesome resource. You can also look up things by search. And then save the date. We have, yes, I can drop the link. For Thursday of week 2, fall quarter, we're gonna have our big health coming event. There's gonna be goat yoga, petting zoo, massages, acai bowls, and of course, health resources. So come out to that, mark your calendars. I know that this is a discussion item that was added, but I've linked also in my agenda or in my updates the UC-wide COVID-19 opt-out vaccination policy update. It's a document that was amended and just posted on the UC website. If I know people have already been reaching out to me, if you have feedback or you would like your voice heard, I'm meeting with them on September 5th. So by then, email me, text me, schedule a meeting with me, or give us feedback through our website, which is also linked. And then the last thing that I really want to invite council members to is that the Seminole Healthy Campus Initiative is hosting a restorative practice workshop, and it's titled How to Build Community Through Conversation, and the training is designed to help us build communication skills for engaging in difficult conversations. And I think that's going to be really key. I mean, already, like, you know, we have tensions in USAC, and so in learning how to like effectively communicate with one another, I think it's going to be really important for having a productive and safe year for all of us. So I'll drop the link also in the chat along with the Be Well Bruin website. And please come. It's exciting. There's like a spearheader of this like restorative practice researcher, Dr. Julie from UC Berkeley, that is going to be hosting this. And they really want USAC to come out. So please attend and I'll see you there. That was all for me. Thank you.
No, definitely. Thank you so much. And looking forward. Okay. We got you. Okay. Let's see who's next. Okay. Transfusion Representative Tyra.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. If I have met with you and I forgot to say it in this update, I'm so sorry, but I believe I met with Sujana last week and we were talking about the Sanrio social, which I'm so excited about. I've always wanted to have a Sanrio social. That's going to be the TSR's event during her de-stress week. And I posted on my Instagram story and a lot of people said they're going to come. So I'm so excited. We talked about using that as an opportunity to build relationship between freshman admits and transfer admits, specifically catering towards freshman admits and getting a better understanding of of transfer identity and what that means to be a transfer at UCLA. I also had my all staff meeting August 15th. That was my first office meeting and that was so lovely. I have some heavy hitters this year. It's kind of like a combination of freshman admits, incoming transfers, and continuing transfers. So I'm really excited about having those diverse experiences in the office. I also had a meeting with my chief of staff and they are all really great. One of them is incoming, one is continuing, and one is actually a part of the Transfer Leadership Coalition, which should be great. Hoping to put TLC on the MO Coalition this year because it is the Transfer Mother org, but it does not get that official recognition. So hoping to change that this year. I also had a meeting with the Samahang Filipino president informally at the beach day for SPEAR, which is their retention program. I got to meet some of the SPEAR staff. Ryan is always a pleasure to talk to. I haven't met him in person. And so it was really nice to talk to him about informal collabs between the TSR's office and with ASU. I also had a conversation with Jeffrey, who is the incoming MECHA and Ideas chair. So doing a lot of MO support as I typically do. We specifically talked about having the first undocumented transfer admit weekend this year. So really excited about that. I think that will complement the series that I was talking about last council about the undocumented art series with one of the professors that I had this summer. So really excited about that. And one of my chief of staffs is actually interested in supporting the HSI initiatives. I had spoken to Elizabeth, which I believe she is the representative for HSI initiatives at UCLA in general. And we were talking about when they are going to have like meetings for that. I believe there's supposed to be one next Tuesday. So I'm hoping to go there and talk to the staff there and make sure that transfer and Afro-Latinx identities are represented in the HSI initiatives. But something that we are hoping to do this year, I believe this will be the first, but we are trying to organize a Latinx transfer org, especially because Latinx students compromise the most out of the transfer population. So hoping to have that space be represented by the HSI initiatives. I do have a meeting with the Filipino Transfer Student Partnership on Thursday because they are going to get a day out of the Transfer Welcome Week. We're going to be doing a transfer, kind of like a transfer cella, just like a festival kind of vibe outside of SAC. And so hoping to do that with both PTSP and Samahang Filipino. Shout out to Megan and Janice and Gabby. I believe that they are going to be the prime USAC members that I'm going to be collaborating with for the first Transfer Welcome Week. If you would like to be involved, please let me know. And what else? I have a bunch of one-on-one meetings with my directors this week. So my entire day on Friday is literally just one-on-ones with my staff meetings because I really just want to be on the same page with them moving forward, and hoping to just hear a lot about what they want to bring to the TSR's office and how I can support them in their endeavors. I generally pride myself on like having my own goals and initiatives, but I want to hear what each director has for their own self. So that should be fun. And I have a meeting with my director of the Transfer Book Club, which is something new that I'm introducing. Sujana is so lovely and saying that she wants to support that. I think I mentioned this last time, but I got way more people than I thought like were gonna sign up. So I'm really excited about it. And we're planning like what that would look like for the year. And I'm hoping it'll be a great way to involve a lot of the incoming transfers and any freshman admits as well, if anybody just wants to come chill out with the transfer. So that's what I've been up to, a little bit more, a little bit less, I guess, but yeah.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to our last council member, Adam.
Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I just have a couple of updates. So yesterday I met with the Assistant Vice Chancellor, Pete Angelis. He's in charge of housing and hospitality. And we're launching a program in October where we're gonna have international students submit recipes from their home country or like family recipes. And then we're gonna bring those to UCLA dining halls. And it's gonna be like this big social media thing with UCLA Res Life. Also, I'm in contact with the UCSA International Students Affair appointment. We're meeting really soon to talk about some international students issues and see what we can do on a UC-wide scale. And that's it from me.
Thank you. I love those. Okay. So now let's go into admin representatives. Is Orlando here? Yes.
Hey, hello. Yes, I am. Hi, hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I just have a few updates. Information on the enormous activities fair will be going out, should be going out. If it hasn't gone out already, should be going out by the end of this week. If you haven't received any information, please reach out to me. Reminder that re-registration will be beginning next week for those that are returning groups. So please don't forget to re-register your office. Also, new student group registration will begin week 0. So don't forget, if you are registering new groups, if you have any questions on any of that, you can also reach out to me. And then finally, it was requested by sole advisors that those of you that oversee the different funds for the upcoming year, please forward us all the updated information, including deadlines, so we can get that information out as soon as possible. I know some of you are probably still working on that, but as soon as you can get it, if you could forward that to me, I'd really appreciate it. I may follow up with you individually, but if you could just forward that to me on your own, or at least give me an update, I would really appreciate that. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. Okay, Jessica?
Hi all, no updates from me.
Awesome. Okay, Lori?
I'm spending a lot of quality time with Alicia and Mason. I had 8 Welcome Week meetings in 4 days last week. So while I love Welcome Week, I'm ready for it to be over. And then also working with Mason and Res Life on the Earth Sessions event. I met with Naomi this week to work on something. Sujana, can you have your staff reach out to me about week 5? Thank you. And Evan, if you're wanting to do study nights, send me an email so I can start to put that puzzle together. And other than that, I had a lovely time at UCLA South Bay, except for Hillary, like ruined the last day, but we'll do a makeup. So if Student Affairs offers again, I will send out the invitation to you all again. Highly recommend. It was really fun. Naomi has a great karaoke voice. And to see Monroe and like Assistant Vice Chancellor Mick DeLuca do karaoke with students is kind of amazing. So kind of worth the trip to South Bay. That's it.
Love you, Lori. Okay, so now we'll move on to Jonathan.
Hi, folks. Hope you're doing well. No real updates from me. Just a reminder that though it seems like school is coming up quickly, we've still got a little bit of time here in the summer to knock out, a project or start planning for something that you want ready for fall. So we're here. Please reach out. Let's kind of bang it out and get things ready for the year and start off strong. Have a good week.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So now we'll go into our old business, which was the Financial Oversight Responsibility Board bylaw change. I'll go ahead and share screen. Can we also promote Isaac?
Yes.
Yay.
Let me make you a co-host as well.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So let me go ahead and share screen real quick. And then Isaiah, if you can give people like a brief overview again, I guess, before we go ahead and vote.
Okay. It should mostly be the same as last week or last meeting. We just changed one word. At least that I'm aware of, we just changed one word. But the idea is the board will gather, a few things. It'll gather all the financial data from the offices and then see how the offices are spending it. And then based on that, create recommendations for the council to increase transparency and improve student access to the information, and then also maintain social media to help promote transparency. So it like publish reports for the student body. Those are the main ones.
Yep. So basically we just have to get it on council again, so that folks have enough time to look at it. And Alicia, I see a hand raise. Oh, it's in attendees. Can you promote?
Okay, I'm promoting her. I think she might have gotten kicked out.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So was there any questions, comments, concerns before we vote? Okay, cool. Can I have a motion?
I move to approve the bylaw change.
I second.
Sarah motions, Evan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, please lower your hands. Cool. All abstaining. All against. Is that an all against? Oh, just me. Okay, you're good. Okay, cool. Okay, with a vote of 13-0 to 0, the bylaw change is passed. Amazing. Okay, thank you, y'all. Appreciate it. Okay, so now we'll go into our next topic, transferring discretionary funds.
So, how would we like to start this?
So was there a proposal made or like no?
I think a proposal may be presented just for like transparency, and then I guess we can vote.
If I could speak, I'm not sure like what is going on, but I was instructed by Megan to not prepare a proposal because there was some kind of concerns with the timing for this line item. I think if we are to do proposals, then it needs to be tabled to another day, but I would like to discuss what was mentioned in the shared USAC text chat, because I did not appreciate it. This is not a joke to me. This is the livelihood of the transfer community. So if we could talk about that, but I know Sarah has her hand raised.
Okay. So to me, that feels like a discussion. I don't know if this is the right time, frankly, or place, but if y'all want to have the discussion, that's up to y'all. Like if y'all want to do it here, that's fine by me.
So are we voting today?
So from your intro, I gathered that we were tabling, but I don't know if we were voting on this today. So
I'd
I'm
say
not.
if we want proposals, then we should table, and then, like, I guess, let's hear what other people have to say if they like want to see a proposal. Because I know that was mentioned for like transparency, and then if that's the way we're leaning, then I'd say we table for next meeting, which would be September 12th. And then that should be enough time for like proposals and things like that. And then we can make like a decision. But I'd also like to see like where people are leaning before as well, if possible. And then question in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there is a consequence, but is there a consequence that I'm not aware of?
There's no consequence. This is your year-long
Yeah.
discretionary money, so you can use this money. It's meant for you to be used on a council initiative at any point during the year.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm just gonna start in the row of questions I see. Eva?
Like, to be so real, I mean, because we tabled this from like last meeting and like the meeting before that, I think. So like, I understand like if we have presentations or proposals to look at, that we should probably, we should table it. I get that. But I do think we should be mindful of like, we keep putting this off, and like, I think it would be, productive of us to like have the discussion, because it's like keeps on being brought up and then tabled. So I guess that's just my 2 cents.
Appreciate it. Evan?
Yeah, I'm gonna retweet on what Eva said for sure. I think another thing too is just like realizing how much money we're talking about. It's like $10,000. I think that if we're each like writing up proposals for it, there's just not enough money to go around in that kind of sense. Like we're not dealing with discretionary funds or surplus funds, like it's not like a huge pot of money. It's just $10,000. We all plan events. We know that a $10,000, like an event can cost well north of $10,000, right? So I think just like the amount of money that we're talking about, I don't really know if a proposal as in depth as what we do for surplus is really necessary. I also think just because of the nature of this account, because it is supposed to be going towards one purpose, I think we need to be unified behind one idea. I think that, Tyra brought it up, and we had, a couple council member meetings ago, we had the situation in which we had so many different transfer students coming to public comment. We're supposed to be serving the student body, and we're supposed to be serving UCLA. And if all of these students are advocating for the money to go one way, and we don't really have that much money to deal with, I think that it'd be really silly of us to not listen to the students who are advocating so aggressively for this. And also with the knowledge that, Tyra is such a kick-ass in all of this, like she always puts in the work, and she like will really be able to deliver. So I'm really comfortable on putting this towards, one purpose. And I think that purpose really needs to be the transfer students.
Thanks. Sujana?
I echo a lot of what has already been said. As far as tabling goes, obviously, like, yes, if we end up deciding that we're going to have presentations, like others said, then we definitely should table, because we're going to need to come up with time for the presentations. But also the impression that I got based off of what was, previously discussed between ourselves was that there was no longer a request for the money from FSC, and that was put to the side, I believe is what I read. So I'm not sure if that would be necessary anymore. If we are interested in demanding that transparency, I think that's a discussion we can have for later, but I don't think that would influence my decision of choosing where to send the money. I also would definitely want to echo what Evan said, first about all the transfers coming and advocating. I think that says a lot. I think that it's symbolic of us to give this money to Tyra's office, and it says something, and it shows that we support transfers, that we support Tyra in her work. And I think to walk that back is not a message I would be comfortable with sending. I also feel that Tyra does do so much. So as far as, requesting kind of, transparency as funds go, yes, that'd be great. But I have faith that she will use the money appropriately and efficiently.
All right, Tara.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Sujana and Evan and Eva in the chat for that. But I would also like to bring up that if I remember correctly, we did take like an informal vote at that initial meeting where transfers came to speak at public comment to give the funds to my office. So I'm like confused, like how we got from that vote to this point, but that's besides the fact. I think it's just a larger question of like what y'all find more appropriate. I know transfers came and spoke about it, and there was a large effort on my behalf to advocate for the funding because I have received so many different inputs from transfers, and so I would like y'all to acknowledge that as well. But a larger question about financial transparency, I do think it's anti-transfer to be asking for financial transparency from just the TSR's office, especially when I've been advocating for this funding, particularly for transfers, especially when there has been so many different orgs and bodies such as the Transfer Center who has received funding from the TSR's office, especially when I am the only transfer on council. So I did just want to mention that. Again, not trying to like start a whole long discussion or anything right now, but I do just want to reiterate that that is something that doesn't sit well with me, especially because of the work that I have put in for the transfer community. And if FSC wants to do financial literacy events for a transfer, that can come through my office. It can be a collaborative effort. I don't think that it requires funding to go to FSC for her to do those events. And I did mention to her that I was willing to collaborate with her on these different events. And yeah, so that's all for me, but yeah.
Okay, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to make a statement of that. One, I want to acknowledge all of Tyra's efforts and the transfer office's efforts to support transfers. As I said in my message, I support that and want to be in support of that, which is why I'm no longer I'm not advocating for the money. That being said, I think as a general practice that we should have across council, students have asked us to push for greater degrees of financial transparency. So my request for a proposal was not to single out any specific office. It's just that if we are delegating student fees, we should be having budget proposals as to where that money is going. And this is again a practice that we hope to address across the board through like the bylaw we just passed and through the efforts of that I'm going to be working with various members of council and like within the USAC system to address. But it was never my intent, and I'm sorry if it came off that way, to single out a single person. I just think that I was elected and that we honestly, a lot of us were elected on calls to make USAC more transparent. And I would be doing a disservice if I did not say something across those lines as my role as financial supports commissioner. I value all the work that everyone on this council does, and I think it's some of the like very important things that we do for students on campus. But I just wanted to see a proposal, one, to like have an understanding of where the 10K would be going towards, and then also to have a better understanding of how to support transfers going forward. But yeah, that was my claim or my statement.
And then, sorry, Mason, really quick. I just want to say that I was also the one to bring up the proposals last meeting when I thought both of y'all were going to be asking for funds. So that was before the text message that came through last night from both of y'all's end. And that was towards both of y'all. So I don't want to say that it was specific to, I didn't mean to single out either the TSR or FSC. It was all in just hope to being more transparent and understanding like how the funds are going to be used, what y'all are really advocating. Like, I know we're advocating for specific groups and like, but what is actually going to come from it? So I'll just say that. And then Mason, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to like say something really quick. Just I really have no like qualms with any of the like decisions that we've made in the past, or like all the discussions we've had in the past about this money going to Tyra, because I really do think that she's advocated very hard for it like from the beginning, and I think like she's made many claims that like are very valid towards it. I just do also just want to like stick up for Sarah a little bit and just kind of say I think her coming forward and like asking for money from this like general fund is like totally valid, just because we're all like in the same position. Like everyone wants more money, and I think it's like I don't think she's like anti-transfer, and I think to like accuse her of being anti-transfer anything like because she's advocating for her own cause is just like it's whatever. But I just don't think that she is, and I don't think that that's how she meant to come across. But yeah, and I think that financial transparency like is important. We all were like elected on that, and like we all want to be financially transparent. I think that's like a general USAC thing. So budget proposals, like I don't think they're like unwarranted. But yeah, again, I don't think we need them. Like I'm totally fine going forward with the decisions that we've made in the past, but I just wanted to put that out there like, in Sarah's defense.
Okay, Alicia?
Yeah, I want to second what Mason said actually, because this is, I don't think it's my place because I have referendum and I have a budget. So it's not my place to talk about this discretionary fund the way it is more for the offices who have to work with the budgets they're given. But I do want to say that it is fair for any office to ask for this money, but in Tyra's case, she brought the transfer community to council. She like that's the student body, and at the end of the day, like this discussion has been. I was not here last council meeting, but I do know that from the initial discussion that we had on these finances, it was very clear that like it would benefit the student body the most if it went to Tyra's office. I think that's my opinion, but honestly, with the work she's done in her previous term, it's very evident that the transfer community needs funds, especially with the EARN referendum not passing 2 years ago, and the transfer resource center not being adequately funded, et cetera. I'm definitely more in support of that the discretionary funds going to Tyra's office for that reason. It really is just about what students want. So that's really where I'm at. But I truly do think it's fair for anyone to do whatever, like propose whatever they need with this money. It's your money. It's each office's money. So I'm glad you were able to voice that, Sarah, because it's up to everyone.
Okay, Tara?
So sorry. One last thing, but I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I am saying, what I have advocated for. Anybody, I think Evan had mentioned this previously, but anybody could have advocated for more funding for their office. I was the only one who brought the student body to council, to public comment, to advocate on behalf of my office. And kind of to address what Mason has said, I do think it's anti-transfer for the only transfer on council to bring transfers to the council, considering there's a $10 million budget. We compromise 30% of the population, and we're only getting $2,000 to $5,000 for the entire year. And I bring transfers to council to advocate on behalf of our community. I brought transfers from across the UC system, and that mobilization was something that I feel like, in my perspective, Sarah used to her advantage. She used my labor as a Black transfer on council to try and get 30% of what I advocated for specifically transfer initiatives out of the TSR's office, I do think that is anti-transfer. And to make it worse, to not bring up financial transparency when we went over the budget, but to ask for financial transparency when it seems like council is leaning more towards giving the funding to the TSR's office, I don't take that lightly. And again, this is a council that's comprised primarily of freshman admits. Y'all do not understand these struggles that I have to deal with on this council, that I have had to deal with on this council as a Black transfer. So just wanted to say that. And again, not to misconstrue the idea that any council member has the opportunity to go back for that funding. But at the end of the day, I was the prime council member who put in that work for that additional funding, especially bring so many members of the community that I serve to council.
Okay, and before we go to Katie, I just want to say, like, I really hope, Tara, that when having this conversation, like you mentioned a point there of like, we have a $10 million budget. Like, I'm sorry, I put so much work into that pie chart to show exactly kind of the point to students about what you just said, about like, we have so many funds that are already pre-delegated that we can't really touch. Then we have these funds that go to various offices. And then we had literally a sit down meeting about being like, options that the offices that only receive $5,000 can do, like running a referendum, other things that can be done in the future to make sure that these offices have more money. But right now, 9 offices are working with what we got, which is $5,000. So I don't want that to slip over like anybody's head. Like, I know you're serving a 30% population. I'm serving 100% population. Like, it's not something I'm taking lightly. Adam's serving the international student population. Like, I know we have so many exciting ideas and events that we want to do and what we want to put on, but like, come on, like we're like.
I understand the pie chart, Naomi, but respectfully, a lot of transfers don't feel like USAC supports them. And that is a valid concern, and I'm getting paid to serve in this role. So I'm getting paid to advocate on behalf of the transfer population. We all represent 100% of the population, but at the end of the day, 30% of the population feel like they are not being represented by USAC. So the pie chart is all good and all, but again, transfers have a general sentiment I hear directly from the transfer community. And so that's what I'm advocating on behalf of.
I don't think you understood my point, but it's okay, because I was saying that there's already funds kind of pre-delegated, so we couldn't change that in the budget, is what I was saying. Why there was like limited options in what we can do. Like this right here, this discretionary fund has never been used in this way, is what I was trying to get at. But go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, I really appreciate both Tyra and Sarah's efforts. I know, like, coming from like my first year in USAC, this is all really brand new to me, about like what a discretionary fund is and like what it's used for. So I'm just like, I have a lot of questions and I've been trying to like figure it out, like, you know, like what it's normally used for, like what it's best used for. I know, like, for example, I didn't really know that that like you could advocate for it like by like, you know, as like, I mean, Tyra did an amazing job advocating for it, but like I wasn't like aware of those things. But I just think in general, like, I just like wanted to come and say that I think that like I wasn't at the last meeting, but like I understand like both viewpoints, and like, you know, Tyra put a lot of effort in getting this money, and I definitely agree that like coming from someone whose sibling was a transfer at UC, like it is very difficult to be a transfer, and I know like firsthand like how difficult it can be. And then from Sarah's point of view, like she's like the finance commissioner, it's like her job to, you know, keep us all like financially like responsible. But I just think in general that I kind of agree with like what's been kind of put in the chat, that, you know, perhaps it'd be a good idea to give this money to Tyra because she advocated for it, but for us all to just be like transparent. Not just Tyra, because like it should be all of us, and we should all want to be transparent, you know, together as like one body.
Sujana?
Yeah, I guess I just feel a little like compelled to say that I do feel, or at least like hope, that, you know, Sarah was more moved by, you know, her passion for her commission in her office and her desire to serve students than by any other factor. Obviously things happen inadvertently and messages are sent inadvertently, which is regardless of it being inadvertent, impact matters. And so Tyra, obviously how you feel matters and how that comes across matters. But we just have to balance those two things. Like Jenna said, we're like in her update about learning how to speak about difficult matters and difficult conversations. Like we're gonna have these conversations, we're gonna work through things. I don't know. I feel sure that Sarah didn't mean to, cause any undue harm by this. Like Naomi said, it's really, really hard working with such a small budget. And I am an office with a referendum, so I can't even talk, attest to that. So I just felt a little compelled to say that. But I do, like I said before, wholeheartedly feel that we should give this money to Tyra.
Eva.
Yeah, I think like I kind of want to retweet a lot of what Sujana just said. I think like the money, like using this money to TSR is really just an acknowledgement of, the value of like Tyra's work and TSR's work. And I think as a council, it's the best way that we can really take like an affirmative stance in support of transfers, besides like the like performative statements that like we're all guilty of, like I'm guilty of, like where we say like, oh, I represent transfers, or like I've hired transfers. But like I really just think that like giving the money to TSR is a good way to like use it as like a, an endorsement of like, this is the project that USAC as a whole really wants to take on. And I think that's a great way to, show our support. And I'm also a little bit confused on a secondary note, like, because I thought we did take a vote on this a couple weeks ago. So Naomi, I'm actually hoping like after I'm done speaking, if you can recall like what that vote was for, and like why that hasn't officially gone through. I'm personally just a little bit confused. So I'm wondering that. And then the second thing I wanted to say is like, I think it's really easy for all of us to like present our finances to USAC. Like I'm sure we all have a spreadsheet that we're cooking up, like in making, and delegating money towards different projects. And I think it's so easy to just like present that to USAC. Like my office, like we'll have that done in a couple days. I'm happy to present that to USAC. Like I have really nothing to hide. Like I don't think any of us has anything to hide. And I think we should all be presenting them to USAC. So, Sarah, like if that's an initiative that you want to hold us accountable for in the future, I support that, and I'm happy to participate. And so all that being said, I want to make a couple motions actually.
So
but I
just
do
a
want to hear
question in there
Naomi.
about a formal vote from last time. Honestly, I can't recall. So if you want to look in the minutes, go for it. But I don't quite know. And then go ahead with the other motions as well.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, can you come back to me after Sarah's done speaking?
Got it. Sarah?
Okay, I'll make this really quick because it's 8:45. I wanna be blunt in what I'm gonna say now. I want this money to go to the transfer community. I want transfers to feel supported by USAC. I just don't feel comfortable voting on this without seeing a proposal. I think Genesis proposal was, I appreciate it. I just think that approving funding without necessarily having a brief overline of where it's going is not, I'm not trying to be the annoying finance person. I'm never this person, but approving money before having a brief outline of where it will be allocated for transfers is not something that I can vote in confidence of. I trust in Tyra's abilities and her capabilities to represent the transfer community. She doesn't need to hear my praises, but she does a great job. But it just from a financial transparency perspective, I think it's easy to say we'll continue to do financial transparency the next time. But I think this needs to start immediately for at least for me to vote. And then the second thing, which is sort of not related to this, but Eva, thank you for bringing that up. Just because I just wanted to put in council members' heads to just keep track of your finances and either what you hope to spend your money on or what you start spending your money on. just like on a spreadsheet, so it's easier for later in the year when FSC comes to do just like financial transparency stuff. Yeah.
Janice?
Hi everyone. I'm sending myself and everyone's strength in this conversation. I hope that we can wrap it up because I truly think like even if we did the sorry, I'm short circuiting because of all the moving pieces. I still think that we should vote now because like others said, we voted in the past and it was there was like a clear outcome, and I think or it would be maybe we should just vote and see like maybe more people are in agreement with Sarah and want to wait. So I just want to like see where everyone is at, and maybe that means that we can resolve this. And then as for like pushing back financial transparency, maybe Sarah, your office could propose like a structure, a very like specific structure that we could follow, like maybe after we allocate to an office like a large sum of money, maybe the rule is that the 2 weeks after or something, or like when that money is spent for the project like to be presented in special presentations or something like that, just because I do think like that's going to be a lot of work on Tyra's part, and I don't think she's to blame that she doesn't have something today because you know she was asked to like very informally asked to like present something. But truly like I appreciate both of your efforts, and I hope that we can start to go in a direction that is you know, not inflammatory but like resolution based.
Eva?
Yeah, I want to make a couple motions, but I see that Evan has his hand raised. So, Evan, I'd like to motion after you speak.
Yeah, you got it. I think we're going to be in very similar paths of trajectory right now, Eva. I just think it's council discretionary. It should go to a vote of council. If it doesn't pass today, then Tyra can come back with another presentation. But I think at this point, like we've discussed it, we all kind of know where everything stands. I also just want to appreciate that this, I think, was a very mature conversation. I think it was very productive. I'm really glad that we were able to have this. But I think at this point, like there's nothing really more to be discussed. Let's put it to a vote and let's just use the discretionary funds as it's meant to be.
Can I make a couple motions, please?
I can call on you. Eva, go ahead.
Yeah, my first motion is to allocate the $10,000 discretionary funds to Tyra. And then my second motion, I just want to read it or like say it before we vote on each one. My second motion is to have financial proposals at a date.
So we can do the first motion and then we do the second. So it's a one. Jessica?
Hi, sorry, just wanted to chime in really quick. So yeah, if you could do like one, if a motion's on the table, you should really vote it through and then go to your second one. But also just wanted to ask that for clarity of the minutes, can you be a little bit more specific with how what you're motioning for the use of the discretionary fund so that we have it on record, and then that so also SGA can, you know, facilitate that budget transfer and have a backup of what council is allocating it for. So you could just say like TSR office programming or something along those lines, but just try to be a little bit more specific with the motion.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good. So then motion to give TSR the $10,000 discretionary funds for the purpose of TSR programming.
I second.
Okay, Eva motions, Sarah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, please lower your hands. Okay, all against, please raise your hands. Abstaining, please raise your hands. All right. With a vote of 8 to 0 to 5, that is passed. Yeah. Okay. Please lower your hands. Okay, and then Eva, was there a second one?
Yeah, I motion to have each USAC office present financial proposals at a date uncertain in the fall quarter, and for
So
council
I would
members.
recommend that as a bylaw change.
What do you mean, why?
Or like okay, for to present on like basically like how we're gonna spend our money. I don't know if everyone has plans right now for how to spend their money. So I guess I don't know if it's worth it for y'all too.
No, yeah, me mentioning it's like in an uncertain date is just to say like, let's make a commitment now to just like maybe just like linking a spreadsheet like on the agenda at some point. And the second half of that motion was I didn't get to complete saying it, but it was for council members to report at the next council meeting for like when they might expect like any budget to be finalized, just so we can like get a gist of maybe when, like, for example, we could just like legit like link the spreadsheets like on the USAC agenda. So like,
I think
yeah, so I acknowledge
goes
like
in line with the fraud plan for that committee, like going through. So either option is fine. I don't know. Like,
Wait, to clarify, the two options are to try to move it as a bylaw and then to approve the motion? Or sorry, did I
basically
miss?
right now it kind of is a bylaw. It wasn't like specified to be like a presentation, but basically the data of the budget would be collected by the fraud kind of committee, which would various council members would sit on. But right now it wasn't like a special presentation that folks would make. So yeah. Question?
Honestly, no, yeah, I think we should do the presentations. I think we should do it like, I think we should motion and vote on it now, just to like hold ourselves to it, and then we can like maybe revisit that bylaw or something and like, you know, make it like perfect. But then I also think, I'm not sure, Lori, what you mean by putting it in officer reports. However, I think we should do it as a presentation, like a separate presentation, like special one. And I think we should, this is, you know, far from the future because we don't know when we're gonna have it, but I think we should really publicize it, really get people to come, and just like if people come or if people don't come, like we all saw the Reddit post, like we all know, like, you know, the concerns like students have. Like I think we should, if we are going to do these presentations, I think we should like really try to get to inform students that we're doing this and have them come. But that's just like, that's kind of something separate, but yeah.
Okay, so I would definitely like to discuss this off meeting, or we can add it to like figure out exactly what to do it. Because I see some different ideas, but definitely they're all welcome. Before we make like any motion to do something formal. Does that sound good? Or anybody? Good. Okay. Okay, let's develop that further. Perfect. Thank you, Jess. Okay. Awesome. Sorry, going back to the agenda real quick. Okay, so now we're going to new business of discussion of the USAC open house. So yeah, we basically had the date set on that. So sorry, I'm scrolling through my calendar right now. But that's going to be on the Wednesday of September 27th from 11 to 1 p.m. The Graduate Student Association is also doing an open house that day as well. So it's going to be really nice, really sweet. We're gonna use publicity basically from True Brew and Welcome Week. So I really need y'all to make sure it's either you, preferably you as council members, or your chief of staff in the office during that time. I'd really appreciate it. Since it is the day after the Enormous Activities Fair, hoping everyone's at Enormous Activities Fair first. The idea is basically you can like kind of reduce, reuse, recycle your basically your presentation there into your office. So basically the idea is going to have students walking through the different offices, hear more about like what your plans are for the year, any appointments you need to fill if you're hiring for staff. It's definitely a great way to network, especially with incoming students, because most incoming students do come to these kind of welcome week events. So definitely getting the word out. So with this open house, I kind of just need y'all to have somebody in your office to talk about what your office is planning on doing, to help with hiring and stuff and appointments, wrapping those up. Hopefully we can get those wrapped up by end of week 0. I would love to see it for appointments. In addition to that, we're also going to be working on some of the poster boards in the hallway of the USAC offices. So I will need to be getting, and I'll send y'all Slack message as well, but getting descriptions for your office would be good, just so I can put it on the main blue wall to the left of my office, or the right of my office, however you want to look at it. So a brief description, if y'all can send it over, of what your office is, works that y'all do, what you're hoping to do, stuff like that would be really sweet, simple and cute. If you haven't already, make sure you send your office logo to Mary Romo as she emailed y'all. But yeah, also send a Slack message as well. Besides that, what we also want to do with the offices, and something I had mentioned, well, Jessica had mentioned in me in passing, but since people will be walking through the offices, I just got my office, the carpet kind of deep cleaned. It looks really nice now. So we want to do the same for y'all offices as well, but with that, we'd need basically stuff off of the ground of the office. So we can get your offices deep cleaned. We just put in an request form. So it'll be really simple. It'll look really pretty. So another thing with your offices, you definitely, if we can tidy up a bit, I don't know the different states of our offices, but definitely we'll have a lot of people walking through, so it'll be fun. But besides that, I think that's all I have for y'all, but I'll definitely send updates in Slack. Does anybody have any questions or concerns?
Wait, can I clarify something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Eva.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed something when you said about the poster boards. Are you making a poster board for each office, or is it one thing at the blue wall by your office?
The one on the blue wall is going to use to highlight all of the offices and the different things that we do, since that's the first one you see coming up the stairs. But we can also rework the ones that are also in the hallway as well, if y'all would like. We kind of just need the ideas of what y'all want to put on it. Okay. Cool. Anything else? Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll send a Slack with further updates. And now we're going to move on to discussion of hooligan theater funding issues. And then Eva.
Yeah, I definitely think we should have a discussion about this, given that Hooligan emailed us earlier this week, and hopefully everyone had a chance to view that email. I'm personally just extremely uneducated about what's going on. So I definitely would love to hear from Alicia and ARC. So that please, yeah, take it away.
Okay, Alicia, go ahead.
Thank you. It's not just me. I want to put that out there. It's all of us. Even if it wasn't your fund that was involved with them. I definitely did not appreciate that email. Hooligan has been really, I don't know, inconsiderate with their communication with USAC. As much as it is our responsibility to student body to fund and support student orgs and their events, their programming, it is not fair to some extent. That email was very tone deaf because it's not just their experience. Everyone is scrambling for money. And I think, I don't know if I can speak for other funds, but ARC did everything they could. It was truly administratively, administrative processing was truly why some of their funding issues have not been resolved, or some of their bills have not been paid. But students did everything they could. Students did everything they could to make sure their funding got approved, allocated, whether that was distributed, whether those things were paid for, accounted for. That does have to do with SGA. That does have to do with events office. That does have to do with the processing of invoices. That I am not personally responsible for, or my org is not responsible for. I'm responsible for allocating this money. Once it's allocated, once it's requisitioned, this is accounted for. And it's also just like, I don't know who needs to tell them. I don't know who needs to tell students, but like, if they need more money, it's referendum. It's like, we need more referendum. We need, like, student taxes is truly like what makes the school run. That's why UCLA's student run. That's why USAC holds so much power. And I don't know, like, it feels wrong to just target USAC for funding issues. Like, I think it's more of a conversation we'll truly need to continue when the new chancellor is appointed, because we need to know how that person's going to address this issue, to pour more money into student activities, student programming, student-led initiatives. And I appreciate how official and how detailed this letter was. But it's not fair that they act like they're the only org submitting recs and clamoring for more money. As much as USAC funding is a mess, it's not all on us. It's also administration that just has a lot to process. And I'm not gonna sit here and blame SGA. They're so understaffed. And like, I that's something else that I want to that I want to say. Like, it really is a lot of moving pieces, and I don't want to blame administration for it, but it's like, I don't want people blaming students. And in my upcoming fiscal year, I will make sure that ARC is not doing retroactive funding to help student orgs fund their initiatives, but to maybe help with the processing of these bills and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, we did everything we did for Hooligan, and a lot of other funds did everything they could for Hooligan. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you, Alicia. I do see that there are 2 representatives in the chat. I do apologize if I missed you during public comment. I did not see any hands raised during that time. I don't think you were intentionally skipped, so I do want to say that to Leia and Krish. And so, unfortunately, I do have to go with, because right now there's not really a time for additional public comment. I don't quite know the rules centering on that, so I will ask, but let's go ahead with Gabby first.
Yeah, sorry, I just had a clarifying question. So they were granted these funds, but they never received them. Is that correct? Can anyone please clarify?
So in the email, I'm so sorry.
I think that
so go ahead.
Sorry, I just checked. No, so sorry. I just checked. I think they still haven't received, like, all the allocations were approved. It's just like they haven't been appropriately moved through like SGA, the events office, etc. So they still haven't received funds. The 2 ARC allocations as well as the SRF allocation, but they have received the BOD allocation.
Got it. So is that something that we can sort of deal with, or is that all on SGA?
So Jessica's gonna look on the okay, so Jessica, we just forwarded the email to Jessica, so I think she's gonna look on the SGA side of things that we can do, try and see what happened. So I guess there's more to come on that. So yeah, I hope that helped.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Sujana?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it would be good for me to say something because ASRF was mentioned in the email. So Krish, Leah, really sorry that you guys have not yet received your ASRF location. As you know, you were working with Danny Cortez, who was the previous Academic Affairs Commissioner. So I just went back and I checked my email, just looked up your rec number. And so to my understanding, I think everything on AAC's end as far as moving along the appropriate documents, etc., has been completed. I think based on the email communication with Josh, who you may also have spoken with, the issue is that surplus was not loaded into your accounts. I don't even know how that works or what that means, but I would recommend to you, and if you're not able to, I can do this. I would recommend to go to SGA's office in person, and there is where you will receive like a direct, face-to-face response. You won't have to do any of that back and forth over email. I have also checked. I'm actually just looking at it now. What I'm looking at this email is that it will be paid out, but because surplus is still being placed into accounts, Josh said it will take some time. So to my understanding, that means like everything should be fine for you to get your money. It just hasn't been loaded into your account for some reason. So again, really sorry about that. I would recommend going to the office. I'm here in Westwood, so if you're not physically able, send me an email. I am more than happy to go. But I completely understand your frustration. As USAC council people, there's only so much we can do, but at the same time, this is our job, so we should be doing everything that we can to help you guys get your money. And as you said in your email, the arts are very, very important to students. The work you do is amazing, so we want to make sure we continue to support you and to fund you in that, moving forward. And as we, we'll resolve this as soon as possible. Moving forward, we'll just continue to build this relationship. Hopefully you guys don't feel too disillusioned. Trust us, it's hard on this end too. And so we definitely hope we can still work with you and resolve this smoothly.
Okay, thank you. Before I hand it back to Alicia, I also just want to say to the hooligan representatives that are currently in the meeting that I do appreciate the time that you took to write this email. I went through it a couple of days ago. So going through it, I appreciate the call to action. And I just want to let y'all know that this is definitely something that we've been discussing in earlier meetings during the summer, of how a lot of us do want to, especially the ones that have funding bodies, do want to work on kind of making it more digestible, more accessible, not only through our website, but in just how even offering office hours for different funding applications, just to make transparency more clear, as y'all express in this email, that there can be more done and should be more done on our part to help with these issues so that it doesn't get to this point, like in the summer, and y'all still haven't been able to pay off those past bills. And I really am sorry personally to hear that. So definitely, I had an incident similar to this with somebody else not getting their rec fulfilled, and we were able to get it done in it took like 3 weeks. I'm sorry, it took a while, but definitely I'm happy to like help kind of not put that pressure, but put that pressure to make sure that y'all can get the funds that were allocated to you. So I will definitely be in conversation with you all that are not only in the meeting currently, but also the other representative, I believe, that was attached to that email. Megan just said in our chat to the host and panelists that she hasn't gotten some money for some RETs as well. So it is like we're feeling it. We feel you. We're very kind of in similar positions for some of us. And now I will go ahead and pass it off to Alicia.
Yes, I also want to address like one of our main issues too for the ARC fund last year is it was so understaffed. So once we have our staff applications open for chairing the funding committee, I really encourage you to tell your staff to apply to boost that application, because at the end of the day, it's all our work. It's all student work. So if you're able to contribute to the work to at least on student end to improve the funding process, thank you. Because if you help us, like it'll be easier to help you. So yeah, thank you so much for writing that. But just know it's like a overall struggle and for all works, even including mine, which is crazy to say, but like everyone is struggling for funding. It's also important to consider like you could run a referendum, you could work with our offices to try to run a referendum. That's like one of the ways that you could also pursue money and funding. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just got to jump in before I hand it off to Evan. I do want to be cognizant, y'all, that not a lot of people know like the options to go from like here. Like I know it's like I know it's very easy for like us to say like we can throw out like run a referendum, but like some folks don't even know what the hell that is. Like, I'm sorry, if you asked me like my freshman year what the hell a referendum was, I would have been like, huh? Like who? Like, so definitely like, let's use like I don't know, like more like basic terms when we're talking about these things of like we can put something on the ballot to definitely allocate more funds to certain groups. So, you know what? I'm tired. Okay. Evan, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to quickly talk about some of the things that TGIF is going to be implementing next year, especially with the help of Fernando, is we're actually going to have like live tracking updates. So you can see the application as it goes through the process. So whether or not it's, SGA is dealing with it right now, or whether or not it's the facilities commissioner or just something like that. So it just kind of keeps like the public informed about where they are. And then also if you have any questions about it, you can kind of just see exactly where the application is. The other thing that I will also quickly add is I know that in that email, we kind of addressed just like the shrinking amount of money that's going towards the student body. It's something that we are so cognizant of. Like we have like our main membership fee for USAC was passed in the 1990s. It's $10 and it was never indexed to inflation. So if you could imagine from 1990 until 2023, just the amount of purchasing power that $10 has just exponentially decreased. It's something that we're all facing. You see that there's this huge USAC budget, but realistically, all of it's already kind of allocated out in funding, and just the amount that we have is decreasing as inflation increases. So there's, it's an issue that we're all facing. It's kind of universal across campus. We do really appreciate you guys raising this issue. Yeah, that was an incredibly well written letter, and then also just for coming to council today. We really appreciate this engagement.
Jessica, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update just as I'm trying to look through additional information on these specific allocations. Josh did send an email, I think the 15th of August, with updates on a lot of the requisitions that I think were addressed in the letter as being unresolved, but it seems like he was saying that the payment was going to be remitted that week. So I'll try to follow up with him tomorrow because I think these should be resolved as far as I know, but I can definitely forward him the specific rec numbers that were mentioned and just make sure to clarify, because a lot of them seem like they were purchase orders, which then don't get paid until we receive the invoice to reconcile that. So it may have just been that the invoice got to us late to actually complete the payment. So I'll double check on that and I can give you all an update tomorrow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we can CC them, right? Well, yeah, since we forwarded you the email, we can definitely continue to talk about that. But yes, okay, sounds good. And yeah, just want to look at, I know Sujan just responded, but Leah's comment as well. No, definitely. It is a struggle to get these RETs. I've seen quite a bit. I even had to go into the office a couple weeks ago to sign a lot of RETs that kind of just not fell through the grapevine, but like need to get done. So I definitely understand. And I wish that it didn't have to like put labor on y'all to write that email. It didn't have to for y'all to like come to council. I wish it didn't get to that point, and I really am truly sorry. But best believe we have things in the works, and like Evan expressed some ideas that can be kind of stretched to our other funding bodies as well, I think would be amazing. And just some of the other ideas our council members have brought to the table, I think will definitely help in these different cases. But I definitely want to thank you for your time and for sticking around for the meeting. And I do apologize if I did miss you in public comment. I just didn't see any hands raised at that time. So yeah, okay. So yeah, with that, I guess we'll move on to our next discussion of COVID-19 policies for fall quarter. Alicia. Oh, sorry. Wait, yeah, was that Alicia on that topic?
Yeah. Yeah. Hi guys. So what's it called? Recently, in the Disabled Student Union group me, we have been in talks about the current state of like multiple universities and schools implementing new mask mandates. Well, re-implementing mask mandates with the rise of 2 new COVID variants. They're called They're called Iris EG.5 and BA.2.86 Parola. These new variants are causing easier infection. More easily transmitted infections of COVID-19. And there are new COVID protocols that are going to be implemented to res life, which include no more water testing, 6 isolation rooms in Birch, triples, 18 beds on a wing with other students that aren't infected. Isolation spaces will only be available to students living on campus. Isolate in place. Infected students will have to isolate in their dorm with their roommates, unless an isolation room is available and they ask to be moved there. It will also be up to students whether they are the person who got COVID or the roommate of an infected individual to find accommodations if they want to isolate elsewhere or if they don't feel comfortable living with someone who has COVID. And roommates would not have to isolate if they don't have symptoms. And ASH will no longer be giving out COVID tests, only available through vending machines. This is just from a note that the SU shared. Someone testified in the group chat that said, as someone who worked for Denev, where last year the portion that contains Fir, Birch, and Evergreen, which used to be isolation housing, this all tracks with what higher ups were saying then. I'm a little surprised that they're still offering any isolation housing since they seem like they didn't really want to. We also weren't allowed to encourage or require masks within smaller communities. For example, the individual LLCs we worked for. I proposed putting it to a floor vote for our residents and then making it a floor rule if it passed, and it was pretty directly told that I couldn't do that because we didn't have to mask anymore by my employer, who I never saw in a mask once. Multiple students have spoken out in our chat saying they want to get involved with making this moving this to the table by implementing a resolution, but more so also speaking directly with Janice, who is on the infectious diseases team, previously the COVID-19 task force, because Janice, you're in direct relation to the policies that are implemented by the university. What's it called? And as some of you know, we have previous council has implemented a resolution on it, implementing masking again, and trying to speak up for accessible education, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, it did not pass, but that was with previous council. So the next time we meet, we'll have a resolution drafted, and students will come for a public comment, hopefully to speak up about this matter. Yeah, I really hope you guys care about what disabled students are saying, and even those who are not disabled, but are scared to be with the rising COVID cases is so important. So yeah, that's my discussion.
Thank you. Okay, and then Jonathan, and then I'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just wanted to echo what Alicia is saying, and I definitely agree. I think I was just doing a bit of quick research as well with what about the different schools. They're so hard. So far, there's been one university that has instituted that coming back, and more universities are going to continue doing that. So I think ultimately, I ran on that platform. However, I will say, I don't think a mandatory mask mandate will happen. I don't think that's going to happen again, being quite honest. And I'm a big advocate for student freedom of choice in regards to that. I think our best option is to, fight for the resources and the access. I think providing free masks, trying to pressure administration to continue that. I think the isolation protocols, we need to bring that back together, because I remember that was essential for me to recover when I had COVID while I was on campus. And that would have not been possible had I had to share a room with a roommate. And on top of that, continuing the spread of COVID. So I absolutely agree. And Alicia, I'd love to collaborate in any way I can. I'm actually meeting with Janice as well on Friday to discuss ways that my office can support those initiatives directly, just because I have a director allocated work specifically on COVID issues, I think ultimately it's something we have to address. It's something important. And I think no student should feel uncomfortable coming into class and, potentially obtain a disease that has long-term effects that's been demonstrated with COVID-19. So I think this is a resolution we have to support. And we have to kind of just pressure administration as much as possible through all of our offices.
Thank you. Okay, and I just had something quick, and then we'll go back to other council members. I just want to say, like, being on campus basically since summer session A, but specifically now with working for the freshman summer program, these past 2 weeks, like, I had about 7 students miss course, like lecture and discussion, due to exposure to COVID or having COVID-19. So definitely cases have been picking up, especially in the Los Angeles area, I will say, that Alicia also highlighted. But also there's just some things that were like done previous years. I remember there being like a booster fair. So maybe bringing that into conversation, because I know some people haven't gotten their boosters for a while. And that's also why COVID has increased quite a bit. Definitely, I think that could be brought into the conversation. Janice, I know you're asking like kind of what else kind of asked we would have, but definitely would love to kind of continue this conversation. But I think a booster fair would be a great way to start. So like, especially in that like, maybe like move-in week, I don't know, like where, like how, like it could happen. But yeah, and then let's pass to Evan.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo both of what Naomi and Jonathan said. I also just add on to the points that Jonathan was making is, the mask mandate would be a UC-wide policy. A lot of these resources we're talking about are specifically for UCLA. So I think that when we think about the resolution, we might want to consider one to the UC Regents or one letter to the UC Regents versus one resolution about the UCLA campus specifically. I also think I agree with Jonathan's, whether or not like personally I agree with it, I think that it's going to be really hard to get a mask mandate reinstated. And I think it's going to be incredibly unpopular with the student body. I think it'd be really important to get as much student body support behind it as possible. And I think the way that we get student body support is if we focus more on the resources and things like, can we improve circulation and can we improve ventilation in our classrooms? Can we improve access, remote access to these classrooms? Can we improve, like there's no reason on earth why Ash should not be handing out COVID tests next year. Like, I think those are much easier things that we can get the student body a lot more unified behind. And I think that we can make a lot more progress behind that. I think that if we put a mask mandate in our central resolution, I think we might run into an issue that the student body would just kind of like holistically dismiss everything that we have to say, even if we bring up some really valid points and things that they might agree with. So I just think like thinking of it kind of, I guess, more through like a political lens, I think that's probably the strategy that I think would be the winning strategy moving forward. But I'm happy to hear what other council members have to say.
Thank you. Alicia?
I'll pass it off to Sajana before I go.
Okay.
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, I think I'd like to echo what Evan said. I think it's like, yeah, a mask mandate would be really, really unpopular, and I think like the key, like Evan said, is about cultivating like a campus where students want to wear it, or where students have that perspective and they can like think about others like besides themselves, right? Which is really, really hard for students to do. And I think Alicia, like I'm in the DSU chat and I see how passionate these students are, all the great information they have and all that emotion, all that passion. So maybe something that we can do is we can, again, and I don't even know how this would look, but some way of bringing their stories to light, some way of sharing their stories with like the wider, student audience somehow. And like, yeah, working to cultivate that environment where students really, really deeply care. I mean, I wouldn't want to disregard a mask mandate. I mean, just yet, but I do agree with what Evan said in that I think it will lead to students kind of disregarding everything else that we have to say. But it's tough because I know that for the disabled community, like, a mask, like you got to prevent transmission, like you have to wear a mask no matter what else. So it's really tough one. But yeah, I'd love to hear what other people have to say.
Okay.
Thank you. I was just waiting to say to respond to like what everyone was saying. But I do think folks should take a step back before they really comment on the nature of this conversation, because if you're able-bodied, you need to understand your positionality. You can't just frame it as politics. This is people's lives and people's lives are politicized. COVID has become so politicized and so hated because people are so uncomfortable with thinking about others people's needs, more vulnerable people's needs. And I think it's unfair to disabled students, whether they're in the disabled student union or not, whether they're involved, and honestly to anyone, because you could be disabled tomorrow. You could, whether you become diagnosed with a physical disability or with an emotional or mental disability, whatever it is. And it's kind of, if you're not placing those students' needs before your own, or you're not placing their views before your own, and you're in the DSU chat, that's not okay. And I don't like the way that, I don't know. It kind of makes me uncomfortable with what you said, Sejana, because I feel like you were more so like, I don't know, framing your opinion as like potentially like, someone's supporting DSU, but not actually like, I don't know, showing up for what they literally said they need. Because one of the members literally said, we want indoor mask mandate first, then they want to return to having people testing, then they want to reactivate other testing sites that have been closed down, putting COVID trackers back, and having more transparency in terms of how UCLA's isolation housing process works now. I think it'll be telling to see how y'all are in solidarity with disabled students, and when we have the resolution up. I know that you're advocating for all students' needs, but you're honestly advocating for all students' needs if you advocate for disabled people, because you're advocating for the public health and public safety of everyone when it comes to COVID. Everyone, no matter who you are, you're subjected to COVID. You are vulnerable to it. And if we protect all students, because some of them don't know, some of them have been so, how do you say it? Have been so numbed to knowing like what is going on with COVID, like have been, because of the way the government and the media and the US has just completely tried to put up this picture that we don't have COVID anymore, when people are suffering and dying, and we don't even know the capacity of these cases because testing is so low. But if you look at the LA County cases, it's just skyrocketing. And if you're thinking about the most vulnerable population, you're thinking about everyone, because we are all subject to COVID. We are all subject to becoming disabled. And if we truly, as a council, advocate for the needs of those most marginalized, we are doing our job. And yeah, Black and Brown communities in Los Angeles are the most vulnerable. Our staff working in housing, custodial staff in Kirkop, like those are the most vulnerable populations working in conditions that are most subject to COVID-19 infections. And it's like, if we truly care about not just everyone impacted by COVID, includes faculty, staff, students, and visitors, people a part of the LA community, I think it's just very important that we don't make a decision based on what we personally experienced with COVID, but what people who have been disabled by it, or people who rightfully fear it, want it. That's truly what we should be doing. We should not be placing our own potentially like able-bodied experiences into question. We should be listening and doing what students who are disabled want us to do. That's my piece.
Thank you. Janice?
Actually, Sujana, if you have comments, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, at least I just want to like very, very, very sincerely apologize at so much for what I said. If it helps clarify at all, I am definitely in favor of the mask mandate. Like I said in my initial comment, it's the number one thing to do, and kind of if you implement all these other things without a mask mandate, then you're not really like that's, all those other things are, the effects are basically nullified. I was kind of just speaking and just actively responding to comments that other council members were making. So I did not intend to like assert a position or to say anything very not definitively, but if it makes sense for me to say that I was just kind of like responding and reacting to the points that we were bringing up. That is kind of why I said what I said, but I very, very, very sincerely apologize. And I fully hear you. I am in favor of it. And I hope that that is not misconstrued.
Okay. Janice now?
Actually, if Evan has comments, go ahead, because I'm just going to do a little wrap up.
Okay. Evan.
Yeah, I kind of tried to echo the sentiment that Sujana had. I really want to make sure that I don't want to come across as politicizing this issue too much. I think that, Alicia, you kind of talked about it, that it is just such a political issue. And like, at least for me, like, I feel like there's so many times that we pass resolution as council and it just kind of goes out into the void. And, it's great to pass resolutions and it's great to have like what exactly we want to see happen. But if it doesn't make an impact, if it's not something that's actually implementable, and if it's not something that we can get, people to support, which maybe this is something that we can get people to support, maybe it will be different than it's been in years past. I just want to make sure that, we don't sacrifice things that could be actionable and that we could make, change for just because we're trying to get it perfect, because it is such a real issue. And I just want to make sure that we just don't get dismissed, entirely. And that's just my fear. And maybe it's, a misperception of what the student body will react, but that's just, I guess, like the perspective that I'm coming from. But I really want to make sure that, like just the strategy mind, like I don't want to diminish anybody's like personal experiences with COVID, because I know it's, it's still very real. And I personally would be very much so in support of a mask mandate. I'd also think, and I kind of encourage, like I kind of brought it up in my first point, that maybe we view this as 2 separate resolutions or 2 separate action items, put a resolution on for council, and then maybe we could write a letter to the UC regents. Because again, the people who are deciding these policies are different from whether or not, it's just a local campus policy versus the UC-wide policy, which is the mask mandate. So at least for me, I just think that that's probably the more strategic way to go, and just making sure that we, are actually making actionable changes and things that can actually, make an impact on campus.
Okay, Janice.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone who commented. And I mean, I completely agree. I wanted to share my perspective on, I haven't been on it long, but being on the IDMT, the Infectious Disease Management Team, formerly known as the COVID-19 Task Force. From the last few meetings, it really sounded like they are truly just going, they're following the guidelines that the UC Regents release. And also primarily, UC Berkeley was the first to implement the opt-out vaccination policy, which sounds intense, but on my officer reports, I linked the specific policy changes that they made, or like the outline for that, and it's not as I don't want to say it's not as bad as it sounds, but it sounds like it's a very small technical change in like how vaccination records are like being processed through the ASH Center. I think they're still going to make it like the flu shot, where like they send students reminders every year to like get your COVID booster, or later it'll just be like your COVID shot. But it really sounds like the IDMT is not aware of like how some of like the voices that are being represented and expressed right now, like especially by the Disabled Student Union. And so in the past meetings, like I've truly like, I did not mean this in any, I didn't mean to like do any harm, but I was just like going along with like what the IDMT was like, okay, like it sounds good. It sounds like they know what they're doing. It sounds like they're like listening to UC Regent policy, and UC Berkeley has implemented so-and-so like safely. So it sounds like it's a good move. But I do agree that like even in my personal life, like I see that COVID is running rampant again. And so I think that the plan that they have right now, which was like, for example, like only like 8 isolation beds and stuff, is like probably not enough. So I dropped it in the comments, but again, I would love to work on a resolution with you all, or like co-sign it. And then also I linked the SWC contact form so that if specific individuals, it'll like come straight to my email. If they have asks, if they have ideas, if they can send that in by September 4th, because I have the meeting with the IDMT the next day. And if we want some kind of like formal resolution, that would also be a good deadline to get that to me by, so I can bring the ideas to them, because I really think that they're willing and open to work with us, but they just don't know right now. And I want to be an effective like bridge between our campus community and yeah, Tara, that's a great idea. And thank you, Alicia. Yes, that's all.
And Janice, I just want to add one more thing. It's also the fact that they don't know. That's also kind of the problem here. Like why don't they have like, I don't know, like I don't quite understand, like, well, I do understand like what's wrong with that. Like, I guess not the team, but like I don't know if like they need more student voices, like, or how to go about facilitating that. Well, it would be like an appointment, but like I just think like there should be like more outreach on their end, like just beside not only you, but like besides that, to also hear about the student community before, like, I don't know. Yeah, Janice, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
completely agree. I completely agree, because I remember at one point like the leader of the board was saying like, so does this sound good to everyone, like about like that like 8 isolation beds, and I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm the only student here, like I'm the only undergrad, like it sounds good to me, but now that I'm hearing like you guys as like representative voices from like the disabled student union, I'm like, okay, it's not good. So I agree. That's another thing that we can ask for, is more student representation on their team. But it's also interesting because it sounded like they were planning on dissolving the group because COVID was subsiding. Yeah, I think, or at least there have been monthly meetings, and I think they were gonna make it like less frequent.
No, yeah. Because I went to, when it was still like I forgot what the previous name of the task force was, but I sat in for like a meeting for Breeze one time. And it was just like the questions that they were asking me, like this was like really like when we were on that hybrid quarter. I don't know if y'all remember, but they had literally no clue like the state that students were in. I just found it so, like, I was very new to like the USAC space, not even gonna lie, but I just thought it was so interesting, like how they didn't know what was going on like on campus, like how students were feeling. So I definitely, like, I understand like be your shoes like in that role. So definitely, yeah, that's definitely something we can talk about. I hope they don't dissolve the committee.
Yes, I can definitely, like, that can be on the list of like, can you guys just confirm that you are not dissolving the committee, and for more student representation, and then yeah, right, Jonathan, and more. And I really don't think they have any ill intent. Like, it's just a group of people that are very removed from our experience. Like, these are like really top researchers, these are like administrators, and so they just don't. I actually think it's really funny the amount of rooms in the small space that they've like allocated for COVID isolation. Like, if you knew what it was like to be in a triple, like you would never let that slide. So yeah, definitely everyone send requests into the link. And like Jonathan is meeting with me on Friday. Like, if you want to voice specific concerns, I am available.
For sure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. So last but not least, we had the resolution in support of the ACA sits with Eva.
Hi, yeah. Let's definitely make this quick because I'm sure we all want to get off. But so if you haven't read the resolution already, I highly encourage you just go skim through. Essentially, it is like a USAC endorsement of a constitutional amendment that is being discussed right now in committee in the state legislature. Right now, per the California Constitution, the UC policymakers are like, the UC regents, right? And we just want to amend this so that employers of the UC, get basic like state labor law rights and protections rather than just those that the UC like offers for them. Because right now, employees of the UC that I've spoken to a lot in like my office and just throughout UCLA have expressed a lot of malpractice and abuse when it comes to unsustainable labor practices. And so, you know, this is a really important step to kind of, I think, using this as leverage in some work the EVP is trying to do with labor rights and fighting for fair labor standards. Definitely encourage y'all to take a look through the resolution. And yeah, does anyone have any like questions about it before I make a motion?
I just want to say thank you, you and Megan, for your work on this. Very slay. I took a look at it. I don't have any questions, but yeah, just wanted to give you all your flowers for doing this.
No, yeah, Megan is literally a legend. Like, literally love her. This like resolution was like completely her idea too. So it's very much like a primary sponsor. So love Megan. And I move to pass the resolution in support of ACA 6.
I second.
All right, Eva motions, Sarah seconds. All in favor, please use your hand. Okay, please lower your hands. All against, please use your hands. Abstain, please use your hands. All right, with an 11-0 vote, that is passed. Congratulations. All right. Cool. Okay, so with that, our meeting has come to an end at 9. Well, I call this meeting to end at 9:43 p.m.